Schizophrenic Queen specifically, she is a fantastic example of somebody who can have a mental health issue, yet have deep thoughts. I've seen videos that she's made where she puts out poetry. I really love Schizophrenic Queen. She is fantastic. I recommend everybody go subscribe to her if you haven't already.
Yeah, that's one thing that I've learned through my work of mental health, and one thing that really annoys me is this stereotype or this thinking that just because someone has a mental health issue, they are, you know, I think there's a quite famous instance, I'm not going to bring it up, but that they can't have deep thoughts, they can't be intelligent. You know, you could have a mental health issue. Having someone, I can't remember the statistics, but you probably will have a mental health issue sometime in your life. So,
1 out of 4, dude. 1 out of 4.
Thank you. 1 out of 4. So there's bound to be. I've had, a couple of my friends have had, and we still are smart, we still are nice. It's just that it's just, think of it as just being ill. It's just, think of it just being, you know, you have a cold or you have a broken arm. It's just something that can be just treated. Sometimes it can't be, but at the end of the day, there's still that person. They're still you know, they're still people, and they still be intelligent, and they can still be rational.
While I've got access to the audience, I would like to say something as a person with behavioral health challenges my own self. I do a lot of activism with Mad Pride, which is a real thing. Look it up, Mad Pride. And I'm very concerned about the atheist YouTube community and social media using expressions that stigmatize people with behavioral health challenges, such as brain dead, brain damaged, crazy, lunatic, schizophrenic, delusional, to describe religion. Religion is not a mental health issue. It is a socially delusional issue. Please make a distinction of that, because when you call somebody crazy, you're a lunatic, you're not hurting them, you're hurting me, because you're reinforcing stereotypes about who I am. I'm beginning a series on my YouTube channel called Mad Science. I learned today about Georg Cantor. He discovered that there are an infinite number of infinities. Think about that. He was reviled in his time by other mathematicians, and here's why. God is infinite. If there are an infinite number of infinities, then there is pantheism. Now, that wasn't his conclusion. That's what they were afraid he was, the conclusion that would have been drawn. So they went into denial about his research. They refuted him. He fell into a horrible, life-lasting depression. He ended up spending the last of his life in abject poverty, and he ended up committing suicide. And then I would refer you also to Professor Nash, who was schizophrenic. And he treated his own schizophrenia, and he did it without medication. So please, when you start thinking about using terms like that, bipolar, delusional, schizophrenic, stuff like brain dead, please think about us when you start to make those conclusions. And you're smart, intelligent, articulate people. Pull out a thesaurus and find another word you can use, please. Thank you. I'm off my soapbox. Those are excellent points. Thank you for that. And I just want to add, just for my own background and training, for mental health issues, the best way for treatment is prevention, like anything else. So to help prevent mental health issues, don't stress about things. Try to take life with a pinch of salt, and just work hard, but not too hard. Because if you lose your mental health, it's a very powerful thing. Network with other people, develop a support system, because one of the things that atheists tend to leave out is we tend to be chopped off talking heads, and we tend to emphasize the intellectual at the expense of the emotional. And we are animals. We are related to chimpanzees. We are one construct, and we have emotions. And the more we deny that, the more likely we are to not only be sick ourselves, but to ignore the illness and dis-ease around us and not help other people in a community. So, again, here I am on my soapbox. Sorry. This is really dear to my heart.
No, that's perfectly fine. That's exactly why we're doing this in the first place. This is what we're here for.
But I emphasize again, homelessness is not mental illness. Homelessness is extremely stressful. It's demoralizing. They take your dignity away. You have to beg for the right to wash your
Nobody's
face,
saying that.
butt.
Is anybody on the show saying that it is like that? I don't think anybody's challenging that.
No, but there are people who do that, and that is one of the main problems.
Well,
But the reverse happens to be true. A good majority of people with mental health challenges and madness issues, a good portion of those do end up in poverty and end up in desperation. But the reverse is not necessarily true. Homeless people are not necessarily addicts and not necessarily mentally ill, although I'll tell you what, you spend a few weeks sleeping in a car with a pack of kids, and you're going to be pretty freaking stressed out, dude.
Yeah, especially at these tough times with the economic downturn. A lot of people have lost their jobs. A lot of people have lost their homes. So.
And the stigmatization of poor people. Poor people are kind of the new Jews. You know, I had a gay guy on Facebook. He was my friend. I posted that I was doing this atheist helping the homeless thing. He told me I'm not homeless. By his definition, I'm houseless. And I said something to him about it, and he said, well, why don't you do something about it? I mean, you don't have anything to do all day. Totally based on stereotypes. Dude, I live without running water. Do you have any idea how much physical labor that is? You know, I have to work so much harder just to go get groceries. I live across town from the grocery store. The first 6 months I lived here, I didn't have a vehicle. I pushed a baby stroller with an ice chest and a laundry basket in it all the way across town 5 miles, bought my groceries, and tried like hell to get back before noon when it was really hot. I walked facing traffic so I could see what was coming at me. Teenage kids in pickup trucks would deliberately swerve their trucks into the shoulder of the road like they were going to hit me. They screamed at me. They cursed filthy things at me. They threw things at me just for trying to get home with some groceries.
The world can sometimes be a pretty rough place, and that's why it's good to have organizations like Atheists Helping the Homeless that are willing to be out there and be sort of this beacon of hope for people who really need help and they're not focused on the fact that there's people who want to help them, but at the same time want to give them a Bible, or want to give them a chick tract, or want to give them something, want to tell them, by the way, you can also convert to Christianity, and that'll also help somehow. The people who are homeless, that's not what they're focused on. They just want the stuff that helps them live life a little bit easier, and that is the reason that we have organizations like Atheists Helping the Homeless. People who are homeless don't want you to preach to them. It's abhorrent, and I know Christians who agree with me on this. It's not helping anything to stigmatize homeless people and say, unless you listen to what we have to say, you don't get this free stuff.
Yeah, and you notice most of these people, again, will probably, have never had any trouble in their life, who've never had the danger of losing their home or gone through one day of what the poor have had to do, and that you can especially evident from the Republican Party, from what I can see. I have some choice words for them, but I'll save it because this is a charity event.
But see, Mitt Romney's wife, I think it was, wrote off her horse for $77,000. She didn't pay taxes on her horse. What the bloody? Let me eat the damn horse.
Horse meat's pretty good. We are closing down. We are closing down on the hour. We have about 5 minutes left on the hour.
Can I just thank you guys? I mean, truly, this is so wonderful that you guys are doing this, that Joe exists, that people are watching this and making donations. I mean, this isn't going to help me one bit. I'm not going to get an apple or a toothpick out of this whole wad. But for me to be able to participate in this, to be able to voice some of what it's like for those of us out here, like the lady next door in the Kent, to know that atheists are caring about stuff, and I mean, enough to put on this really, really, really long show. Gee, what a technical nightmare. I can't thank you guys enough for doing this. It really does my heart good. I live on optimism, because otherwise, you know, with clinical depression and so on, and the post-traumatic stress and whatnot, I can end up suicidal. And it's so good to be involved in something that's proactive and solution-driven. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. But any small thing we can do to make anything, to make a difference.
And again, a big round of applause for Zulu for putting this all together, because it has been a wreck for him to get this done, and I know that he's been working really hard. So we are closing down soon for this particular segment. Up next is going to be Goxster, Confessions with Brother Dominic. That's going to be a lot of fun. And there may or may not be some very special callers for that particular segment. After that, we have Michael Shermer, which will be hosted by both myself and the Kids too. After that, it's going to be Philosophy Hour with Wisdom in Nature 7, the Skeptical Heretic, and myself. After that, it's going to be Coughlin and DeMaxman talking about Coughlin and his career as a stand-up comedian, as well as other things. After that, we were supposed to have Martin Wagner on the show, but Martin had to cancel due to some personal things. So we have had a successful replacement with Desert File, and that's going to be a lot of fun. After that is going to be a debate between Mortimer as well as BionicDance as to Star Trek and Star Wars. That'll be a lot of fun. After that is going to be an hour hosted by our friends and rivals SkepticTV. After that is going to be the Kitch 2 and Zulu hosting Jeff D. From the Atheist Experience. After that is going to be Coctopus Prime talking about Fox News, and that's going to be. It's a good thing that that's late, because I don't think any of the kids are going to want to be on for that. And right after that, before the closing hour, is going to be one of our headliners, Dr. Lawrence Krauss, and that's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be hosted by myself as well as Mortimer. And then after that, the closing hour is going to be an announcement of the Idiot of the Year Award, which was voted on at the Facebook group for Trolling with Logic, and then we'll do a live ponage of that, as well as wrapping up by thanking everybody for participating in this wonderful charity.
I just want to also add that we will be inviting anyone who wants to join in from our guests. If they want to join in for the live ponage, they can, if they wish.
Well, I'm scared of that.
All right, we're closing down the segment. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys.